It's really incredible how many voices we're continuing to hear from across the country during this lockdown. Today marks 2 weeks, and this is, I've lost count of which episode of Voices from the Lockdown this is, but that's how much we've been hearing from so many of you from right across the country. Even though things have settled, many problems have been solved, but people want their voices heard, and we're the only show that's listening to Voices from the Lockdown. With me, as always, is Ankit Tyagi, the troubleshooter, the man who's plugged into the government system and authorities in states right across the country to give you some possible workable solutions as you continue to voice your concerns and problems. Ankit, welcome to another episode of Voices from the Lockdown. I'm going to go straight to our first voice from the lockdown. This one from Nikhat in Mumbai. Here's what she says.
My mom is 70 plus, she's a senior citizen, and we have to keep going out to get essentials to various stores. They're not available in one store itself because there are people who are hoarding unnecessarily. So that just consumes more time and more effort.
Ankit, is it true? You know, I'm a little shocked here. Nikhat is from Mumbai and she says there is still a shortage of certain items, Ankit, still hoarding that's happening, and still uncertainty over availability of essentials. Even 2 weeks after the lockdown?
You know, I think, Shiv, a little bit of uncertainty would be there possibly because now people are thinking that, you know, they are not sure whether the lockdown is going to be extended beyond 14th of this month. There are still a lot of, uncertainty on that. But largely, if you take a look at the picture, largely in the country, the essentials are moving. There is problem right at the end of the farmers who are not able to send their crops to the vegetable vendors and to the big markets. But as of now, at least there has been, no major problem in the supply chain. What Nikhat is saying could also be possible for a specific area. Remember, in Mumbai, there are about 197 special contamination zones, the hotspot which have been marked by the BMC and the authorities, where, of course, there are more restrictions, even more restrictions. So there is a curfew within the curfew as far as these places are concerned. So it might be in certain pockets, but largely the situation is okay. I would just like to tell Nikhat, if there is any specific demand or any specific problem that she is facing, she can in fact call. There is a helpline number as far as the government of Maharashtra is concerned, and they will sort that issue out as well.
Okay, so things have become much better than they were at the beginning, Nikhat, but we understand what you're saying. Hopefully things will get better. There's a lot of uncertainty, as Ankit said, because of what happens after April 14th is not yet known. Next voice, Janvi, once again from Mumbai. Lots of voices from Mumbai. Here's Janvi.
I think we've enjoyed civil liberties for way too long. So to stay within the four walls of a house gets a little difficult. But I think instead of moaning and groaning, we should use this as an opportunity to better ourselves, our relationships with our family, and become better human beings.
So I just wanted to play out that voice because that's not really a problem, but that's really a comment on where things are actually at. That was Janvi from Mumbai saying we should actually use the time to correct ourselves and better ourselves, and that goes into the root of some of the stories we've been bringing you. Before I go to Ankit, let me play out one more voice for you so we get some questions which we can address. Vimal from Mumbai has this question, again from Mumbai.
I have a daughter who has just completed the 10th grade and is about to embark on a future educational journey. In preparation of this, her teachers have started guiding her online. While it is inadvertent that there will be technical difficulties, it is important that education should not be stopped.
You know, Ankit, my daughter, actually started grade 1 today, and her first day at so-called school was in front of a laptop with a Zoom terminal, meeting her teachers for the first time virtually. And, you know, this is something that is going to be the experience of millions of students across the country. Their first day at school is going to be in front of a phone or a laptop. A lot of parents, teachers, and kids are going to have to get used to this, Ankit.
this is the new reality, you know, a completely changed world. We yet don't know when the coronavirus pandemic will be completely, you know, world would be free of this pandemic. But one thing is certain, Shiv, as you are experiencing it at home, things have changed, and possibly for good in a lot of ways. Now, as far as the schools are concerned, I can tell our viewers with a little bit of certainty that from the inputs that we are picking up from various states, that even if the government, whatever plan they decide post 14th, schools are not going to be, as far as the you know, the area of concern for the governments is when it comes to opening the schools. The schools will remain under restrictions. Children are among susceptible group, vulnerable group. They would not want to expose many children, you know, going out from their houses, going to schools, and they remain in close contact with other students as well. So there is a high chance of the infection, in fact, from one student going to another. So that is why schools are going to remain closed for some time, at least you know, till the end of April. Then, of course, the summer holidays in many places start, but largely the people are getting used to this new way of education. Most schools and even the government schools across the country have now come online in an effort to make sure that they don't lose touch with the students.
Well, you know, in an effort to also suggest that there may be some silver lining in this crisis, one thing is, of course, that everyone has to do this. Teachers, parents and students have to get used to this. But also for younger children, perhaps this could be a way for them to gain some valuable computer skills at a very young age. They're already very tech savvy with their iPads and phones, but maybe this is something that could be considered as well. Next voice, in a very interesting one, Tegbir Singh from Delhi has this query.
We haven't faced too many problems in the short term. We've got to feed about 200 head of animals, which we've got feed in the short term for them. And over and above that, we have a staff of about 100 people and their families. We've been able to get rations for all of them. But in the long term, we do foresee there's going to be problems because racing's come to a halt. And that's where we sell our horses, and that's basically where the horses earn and things like that. But in the short term, we are managing. I mean, this is the thing, and we're basically making sure that we keep our social distancing measures in place.
You know, Ankit, that's probably the most high-end query we've gotten so far on Voices from the Lockdown. Tegbir from Delhi, you know, who obviously owns a lot of horses, is worried about racing coming to a halt and, you know, getting specialized food and rations for the stud farm, for the horses, for his workers, and, you know, business suffering in the long term.
Well, Shiv, I'm glad that at least he has been able to get the food and the fodder for his horses and the staff there. Now, as far as other people are concerned, with your pets, and even if you have some, you know, animals like a stud farm or anything, you can now, in all cities, including Delhi, apply for a special pass. The veterinary doctors have now been also allowed to keep their shops, to keep their clinics open for that as well. So the movement will be, in fact, facilitated. It's much more smoother than what it was in the first week, but largely as far as the other commercial activities, racing is concerned, that Mr. Yudhvir will have to, in fact, take some time. It will take some time for all those activities to begin, not on the high priority list of the government as of now, because still the focus remains in containment of the coronavirus.
Absolutely. Containment is the key. Tegbir, we hear your plaint, we hear your pain. And in many different ways, I think everyone is suffering from the same thing. We'll have more answers for you going forward. The well-known author and columnist Srimoy Piyu Kundu from Kolkata has also sent us this query.
The concern that I have during the lockdown is there are a lot of single women who live away from their families because of job necessities. And they've been writing to me saying that now the trains and also airports have been locked down. They're extremely concerned about their aging parents. If there is a medical crisis, then how do they reach their parents?
You know, Ankit, this is something that occurred to me as well. You know, parents, you know, not just single women, but parents of children who are living, starting their careers or studying in other locations, who've been sort of trapped or stranded in those locations because of the lockdown. You know, this is a worry that I don't think there's any solution to, is there? They simply will have to wait until the lockdown lifts.
Absolutely. There is no easy answer to that. You will have to wait out the entire period of the lockdown, and if the restrictions persist, because I can tell you that there was initial reports that Air India could start, in fact, domestic flights post 14. That has been withdrawn. The other airlines like Go Air has already said they will wait after till 14th of April for more clarification from the government before they can resume any sort of operations. I can tell one thing for sure, Shiv, that despite whatever shape the restrictions continue, even there would not be a complete opening up of the domestic skies in the country. There are many hotspots, and especially from the bigger cities. The government at this point of time won't be able to risk, in fact, opening up the domestic flights from main cities like Delhi or Mumbai and risk people going from one place to another, which could, in fact, spread the contamination of the coronavirus. So there will be restrictions that are going to continue. People should at least brace for the end of this month for free movement, at least. That is what we are picking up.
So unless it's an absolute emergency, health related, in which case you can get permissions to travel, and even then it's difficult. Hunker down, bunk down, everyone's facing the same kind of thing. So if you are able-bodied and in a different city, please try and navigate this crisis along with anybody else. The next caller, the next voice from the lockdown, Pranita from Mysore. Listen in.
Question is regarding animals. There is food not being able to be transported to animal shelters or rescued animal sanctuaries outside of city limits, and we want to know how to be able to transport them so the animals get their food on time, and also how we can help our stray animals at this time, especially in non-residential areas where all the shops, all the petty shops and the offices and industries are closed.
You know, Ankit, this is a fantastic question from Pranita in Mysore, because, you know, the welfare of animals, especially animals that are dependent on humans for their survival, like in zoos and, you know, in other areas, is going to be a big matter of concern.
Shiv, as far as zoos and national parks and other places are concerned, there are passes which have been given to the authorities. They have also been brought under the essential list. So if there is a zoo around, of course, those will be taken care as far as the government is concerned. But largely, if you look at the stray animals, there are a lot of people, NGOs, those who are trying to, in fact, feed the stray animals. There are also others, those who have come forward when it comes to the food for your pets is also concerned. As I said earlier, in most big cities, Delhi, Mumbai, also report from Bengaluru that the pet shop owners where the food, in fact, for pets is kept, all that has now been brought under the exemption list. The vets are also under the exemption list. But if there is, in the rural areas, you will have to contact your local STM, because they would be able to tell you how these, in fact, fodder, even for your cattle or for other animal is being transported, because they have been kept, the transportation for the fodder has been kept in the exemption list, Ship.
Okay, so those exemptions are already there. Essential commodities include animal feed as well. So these things are largely being taken care of. There are some hurdles nevertheless. Parmender from Pune also has this question that he sent us.
Issues that we are facing here in township is, first is that all these shops of essentials, be it grocery, fruit and vegetable, or even chemists, they are all closing by 3 o'clock. By the time I leave my office, these shops are closed, and for me to grab what I need, I have to come within the working hours. Second issue is that these shops are not offering home delivery.
So Parmender's question has already been answered by Ankit at the beginning of this show on how limits to availability are being addressed on a daily basis by state authorities. Let's move to our next voice, Aman Sharma, with this question from Himachal Pradesh.
My question is about the delay in board exams or medical entrance exams, and for the students who have already paid their fees for the next session and the session has been cancelled due to the pandemic. So who will make sure them that they will not face any problem ahead?
Extremely crucial question, Ankit, about medical and board exams, the postponements. I know that state boards, etc., across the country are trying to supply this information on a timely basis. Is that happening to the satisfaction of students?
Well, all students may or may not, in fact, Shiv, be connected to internet or possibly so that they are not possibly getting that information. But let me just very quickly just give you a few details that we have collected on this very important question. As far as the board examination of whatever is left, I mean, because the board examinations were undergoing in March when the lockdown came in effect from 24th, whatever exams are left as of now, we have been told that there will be a new date that is going to be announced. So they are also waiting for 14th April decision of the Government of India. Only after that, and in fact, that date can be announced. For state boards from classes, most state boards from classes 1 to 8, all the students will be promoted to the next class without examination. For classes 9th and 11th, that examination, evaluation has been left to the schools. It will be in consultation with the schools that CBSE and other boards are going to see which student can be automatically, in fact, transferred to class 9th and then to class 10th and 12th, and others possibly will have to give some online exam. There are other schools who are also trying to, in fact, conduct local exams, within of their schools from classes 1 to 9th online as well. As far as the medical examination, engineering examination, other entrance examinations are concerned, all of them are in suspended animation. The fees that you have paid, you won't have to repay the fee whenever a new date is announced.
Okay, so that's very important information, even though some things still need to be clarified about what next. And remember, even if this is sort of cold comfort, many of the educational boards themselves are deciding how to navigate the next step of this crisis. So if you're worried, hang in there. Everyone is with you and we'll get you that information as well. And a final comment on Voices from the Lockdown for today is Kishore Rao from Bengaluru. Listen in.
It's a great job you're doing by getting young people to come on your program and talk about their experiences once they have recovered from COVID. They're a great morale booster. But it seems from statistics that the people who succumb to the disease are all in the senior age group. So if you get a few people among our age group to come and speak about their experience once they've recovered from the disease, it'll be a great morale booster for us.
And I'd like to thank Kishore Rao from Bengaluru for that suggestion, and thank you for watching our show on those 5 young survivors of COVID-19 in the country. We'll take him up on that suggestion, and Ankit and I will plan a show with people who've recovered from the senior age group as well. Look out for that here on India Today. Ankit, thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to your show at 6 p.m, which has many updates on how Delhi is battling the COVID-19 crisis.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.